What's up, you beautiful, blessed boys and girls? Welcome to the channel. This is Tyler Tote. Today, we're going to tackle a topic that's a little uncomfortable, but I'm currently coaching two men on this, and I feel like it's one of the most important topics, and that's how to quit pornography forever. I cannot tell you the amount of men that I've come across while leading men's groups and coaching and sharing online that say, man, yeah, this stuff, maybe I don't know all the names and I don't subscribe to OnlyFans or pay for it, but man, it's just always kind of been there in my life, maybe since I was a teenager, and I want to be free of this. And the longer I've gone through life now, almost in my mid 40s, to me, winning at life feels like not being a slave to anything, not having any kind of addictions or patterns that hold you that, I don't like myself when I do it, but I keep going back to it. And so I've had a lot of success coaching a lot of guys over the years in this, specifically quitting this one thing. I think it has a hold on a lot of guys. I recently read online 96% of men said at some point in their life they viewed pornography. I believe it's probably 3 to 4% of the other ones are lying. And most of us, if we're really honest, and if I get vulnerable here, it's not even our choice. Like I was showed this stuff when I was a 10 or 11-year-old boy, and my brain hadn't fully, I didn't even really know what it meant. It was a buddy who had back then it was a Playboy magazine and showed us. And I don't know, somewhere in my brain, it was like, oh, I like that. I want to see more of that. And then you just kind of, again, create these patterns and these habits that we take with us for decades, starting back when I'd say we were almost as a sort of a victim if you've been shown this stuff when you were, a teenage boy or even before. But I always say it might not be your fault, but it's your responsibility to quit. And so I do think you dishonor your marriage, you dishonor God, you dishonor yourself. And so I want to give you practical tips that I give guys coaching that have helped many, many guys into this addiction forever. I want to dive in with you today. I want you to be free, experience that freedom. Let's dive in. Number one, and this is a huge one right here, and I need you to write out today, right after this video, I want you to actually physically write out 7, 8, 9, 10 different activities you'll do anytime you feel tempted. Now, why is this important? Because look, you're gonna feel tempted again. I don't need to tell you if you're watching this video. I'm sure you're like all the guys I've coached and myself for many years. This is the last time. Just this weekend, I'll start fresh. It's a new month next week, I'll start fresh. And you have that willpower for maybe a couple weeks or whatnot. Then you feel stressed, you feel agitated. It's been a while with the wife, whatever it might be. And that neural pathway in your brain is telling you, hey, go to this stuff. What I want you to do is get 7 to 10 different activities so that when you feel that trigger and that stress come on, and I want to go to this stuff, you can take a breath and say, okay, I have 7 to 10 other activities that are better for me, that are going to promote the best me here. So mine were just, hey, take a walk, call your mom, call your dad, write your wife a love letter, write your daughter a letter telling you how proud you are of her. Do pull-ups. I would often go to my garage and do pull-ups to praise music, do push-ups to get a little workout in, just any, read the Bible, read a book, any of these better activities that's going to promote a higher version of yourself. Because let's be honest, you hate yourself. Every time afterwards, when you're done with this, you feel guilty, you feel shame, that voice, I'm not going to do it again, right? And so it's having a higher level of consciousness, shifting to that frontal lobe and saying, I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to be fully conscious. I am in full control. I can raise my hand if I choose. I can put it down if I choose. I'm in full control of what I'm going to do next. And so learning to take a breath and go into these different activities. Now, why you have different activities is so important. And I want to share one big tip here. You got to leave the space. You got to change your environment. So again, I would go out to my garage, leaving my room or my office or wherever I might have been. I would get outside and go for a walk, changing the environment of where I was at. That's very important. You can't stay in the same environment. This is kind of the same thing as an alcoholic, right? We don't want him hanging around bars. You just can't put yourself in the position that's familiar that you'll go back to those same patterns that, again, probably have been patterns for decades for a lot of people watching this. So, this is how you break free. Change the environment and go do something else positive. The coolest thing about this is every time you resist that and you feel that come on, you say, no, let me take a breath. Let me come conscious. I'm in full control. Just like I can raise my hand as long as I want, just like I can touch my head, I can put it down. I'm in full control of my next action. I'm going to win the next minute. I'm going to change my environment and go do this more positive thing. It's really cool because the more times you have that victory, the more then you just kind of create a new normal pathway in your brain. Oh, this is what we do when we get stressed or anxious or it's been a while. We go to these better things. And so every time you do, I kind of picture it as you're making a deposit and you're getting a little bit closer to that freedom. So that's tip one. Write out 7 to 10 different activities you're going to do. Number two, super practical one here, and this has saved me. I think it's 6, 7 years ago now. Haha, 6, 7. When I was quitting, But I changed the private browsing screen wherever you've used, if that's on your computer, your laptop, your cell phone. I made the private browsing screen a picture of my pastor and of my daughter. I cannot tell you, James Clear, the goat of habits, talks about putting a lot of friction in there on your negative habits and making them harder than they could be. This just adds a good level of friction, man. If you're a dad and you have daughters, put pictures of your daughters in there. Bro, you pull that up, and the first thing that I thought of is, man, I'm about to view somebody else's daughter. And if you take it a step further and you're a Jesus guy like me, then you're like, wow, that's God's daughter. I don't want to view them in that way because I know how I think of my little girl. I'd slay dragons. I'd happily die for her. I love her more than anything. God loves those same women that way. And I need to change my viewpoint on that and how they look. And this would just cue my brain. Another one, man, when I put my pastor in there, I've talked about him on the channel before, but Eddie Lowen was a mentor that saved my life in a lot of ways. And having him stare back at you, you open private browsing, you're stressed. Okay, man, now I got this preacher staring back at me, and I got to bypass him if I want to go that route. So that's just a really practical tip to add a little bit of friction in there that you can do that'll take 1 minute. But whoever that might be, man, I've had a client before put his grandmother in there. He said, that's the least sexy thing, man. If I have a picture of my granny up there, the last thing I want to do after looking at sweet old granny is go to this demonic poison stuff, right? And so that was one tip. So think of one or two people that you could put up there, add that little friction in. Number three, really big one here, and this is where I work with a lot of my clients on, is we reframe this as not a negative thing. And I know this can sound kind of weird, but bear with me here for a moment. So when you have that urge, oh man, I want to view, I'm stressed, I need to get this out, whatever that might be, right? Just learn to take a breath again and become fully conscious, and don't beat yourself up over I hate I have this feeling, or I'm this or I'm that. I feel like that comes from the enemy, and let's reframe that as your body is simply alerting you that you need to do something different. Your body is simply alerting you you are stressed, you are anxious, you aren't happy. Maybe you need to have a hard talk with your wife if it's been a while and say, man, this is really important to me and I want to connect physically more. How do I make that happen for us? Can we have more date nights? Can I carve off more time for you to ensure this happens? What do I need to do? I need to have, I'm maybe avoiding a hard conversation. That's why my body's alerting me like this. Maybe I'm stressed because there's things on my to-do list that I don't want to do and I've been putting off for a while. And now my neural pathway says, oh, when we get really stressed, we go to this. We know it doesn't make us feel better, but this is just what we've done for decades, so we keep going to it. So take a breath and acknowledge this is a good thing. It's actually your body just alerting you. You need to take some action on something. That can be as simple as going for a jog, going for a walk, hitting some pull ups, writing a letter to your wife, whatever it is. But odds are you're avoiding something you should be doing and going to this lower version of yourself. So reframe that as a positive thing. Oh man, I want to view. Okay, let me take a breath, remind myself it's just my body alerting me. I probably got things on my to-do list that I need to do. Let me write those things out. Let me get fully conscious and actually get my goals on paper and go for it here. Number four, and this kind of goes hand in hand. I coach guys on this all the time. One habit that I think is the highest ROI thing that any guy can do, or girl out there, is take 3 to 4 minutes at the end of every single night and plan your next day like it's a mission. Too often it's just boredom. I'm self-employed. I work from home. So look, man, if I didn't want to, nobody's dependent on me at this point in my life, especially if I were to lay on the couch for 6 hours all day, it's not going to affect anybody but me. And so, you have to have a mission. I schedule my days like a mission, like a big event. And so that's what I'm going to challenge you to do before you go to bed every night. Start to take a high level overview of what your life's like. You know what? I'm going to wake up at this time. I'm going to lay my clothes out. I'm going to work out this. Man, I'm going to read my Bible at this time. And then I'm going to go to my 9 to 5. On my lunch break, I'm going to hit this win. When I get home from work, I'm going to take my kids to this park or this one or do this. Okay, when my family goes to bed, and that's when I'm usually tempted, I'm going to schedule XYZ. Defeat your future self. If your pattern is normally I seclude to my man cave downstairs where nobody's around, and then I'm tempted, change that environment and write out a plan. Instead of that, man, I'm actually going to hang out upstairs and read this book until bed. I'm actually going to put on this awesome sermon or podcast, take some notes. I'm actually going to journal or work on a side project here. I'm going to take a walk at night after my family goes to bed. Whatever that is, once it's on paper, it's a mission. So now, maybe you're normally at 7:30, you put the kids to bed, and now you're by yourself. I don't know, just gonna kind of let feelings dictate. Well, dude, you've been up for 16 hours or whatnot, or and it's hard to rely on willpower. But if you've got a template and it's already in your mind, okay, man, we put the kids to bed. Now I read. Now I go for a walk. Now I do XYZ. Your mission is already set. You're way less likely then to just kind of be led by your feelings. I tell this guys that are trying to cut junk food at night too. You got to have a mission there. You can't just be sitting around on the couch and hoping that willpower happens. That's not the way that life is going to work for you to be the most successful. So have a mission. I always talk about this King David, one of my favorite characters in the Bible, and why did he, a man after God's own heart, best king of Israel of all time, and this guy sleeps with one of his best friend's wives, and then kills the guy to cover it up. How did that happen? And I always look back to, David was at the palace. All of the other men were out fighting and forging and conquering and doing hard work, and the king stayed back at the palace, and he was too comfortable. And I think if we're real honest, guys, a lot of this at this point in society, a lot of us are just too comfortable. Life is so easy, man. We can push a button and have food delivered. We don't have to go hunt. We can push a button and any kind of woman can appear on screen that we've ever imagined or can't even imagine, and it's too easy, and life is so easy. And so you've got to have a mission. You got to push yourself to do hard things. Best way to start this is in the gym or physical activities. I think that translates through the rest of your life, but you got to plan a mission. So take 3-4 minutes every single night, have a mission. The last one, I think this is probably the most important one. Don't go alone. I tried to be honest, to quit for a long time on my own, and again, it was always this will be the last time, one more time, this or that. It was just so hard, and it wasn't until I had a couple of great buddies in my first men's group at my church where I confided to them, and I said, "Man, I don't like myself when I do this. In fact, I don't even turn on Christian music for a day or two after. I feel like I kind of want to hide from God. I'm very ashamed of myself." I think a lot of guys rationalize it like, for $1 billion, I don't think I could name 3 porn stars' names, even back then when I was viewing. But still, I went to this stuff when I was stressed every couple weeks, when maybe my wife was traveling or when, this or that. And I knew it wasn't good and I knew it wasn't healthy and I wanted to break free, but I tried on my own and I couldn't. So if you got a trusted buddy that you can pull aside and say, "Hey, bro, this is where I'm at. I want to quit this. Can I have you as an accountability buddy? I got these 4 other steps before that I can go to. Can I text you if it gets real bad? Can I text you and just let you know, man, hey, I made it a week, made it 2 weeks." You got somebody in your corner cheering you on, celebrating with you. Guys, hire me. You can hire other coaches, whatever that might be. But man, I'm telling you, once you break free of this stuff, your energy level, your focus, your relationship with the Lord, everything just seems to go so much higher. I believe a big, big tool that the enemy uses. I believe demons are real. I believe the enemy is like a prowling lion, like the Bible says. I think one of his best weapons today is pornography. Dude, it gets in and infiltrates the home. The husband and the wife relationship isn't going to be as good. And I don't care what anybody says about this. If you're watching other women and viewing them in that way, you're not just thinking about your wife in that way. That's the sacred thing that just you and your wife have. It's tainted when you look at other things. Again, if you got kids, man, those are God's kids that you're viewing. So there's a deep part in our soul that knows this stuff is wrong. Anybody who wants to rationalize this, look, man, pornography is just poison. There's nothing good about it. And you know that. And that's why you're watching the video and you want to quit. So look, I'm going to wrap up here and then I'd love for you to do a couple things for me. Number one, write out those 7 to 10 activities. You want a little bonus one here, write out why. And take a minute or two and think about how it's going to feel to be free in 60, 90, 100 days from now. Bro, think about like just not going to things that make you feel bad. It's amazing, right? Like you're just not a slave to anything. How good that'll feel. Maybe take and write a paragraph on that. I'm so proud of myself because this is where I'm going to be in 100 days. Change that private browsing screen, reframe that and practice that. And this isn't a negative thing. It's my body alerting me. What do I need to do? Make sure you got a mission every single day and then get an accountability buddy or two that can really take this journey with you to freedom. So look, I know this can be an uncomfortable topic for people, but I think it's one we need to talk about more. Sadly, I don't see a lot of churches talking about this, and I think this is a big thing. When I was looking up some information on this, man, it's really sad, but I read that when Christian conferences come to town, they've done studies and actually pornography goes up on those times when hotels view this and ordering movies and things like that. And I just think there's too many guys that are sort of closeted on this. We don't talk about it. And I truly believe the enemy does his best work when you're by yourself. You're isolated. It's just me. And so we need to get this stuff in the open. We need to heal. We need to have these conversations. I'm rooting for you to heal. Freedom, man, it tastes so good. When you're on the other side and you wake up every day, like, I'm not addicted to anything. I'm not addicted, man. I'm not a slave. And that's what you are. If you can't stop doing something, you're a slave to that thing. So I'm hoping freedom comes for you, man. You got any questions? Leave them in the comments. Anybody else has other tips? I'd like this to be a community. Share them down low. Hey, this is what worked for me. You need that extra help, man? Shoot me a message, tylertoad@gmail. Shoot me a message on Twitter. Shoot me a message here if you want to make it private. I totally get that in a sensitive thing like this. So just reach out and I'd be happy to take the journey with you. Much love, guys. You go have a great day today. Pause the video after this or turn it off. Write down those tips. Start winning today, man. Make today day one. I always say it's day one or one day. Sadly, man, if you have enough one days, you don't get a chance to live your best life. So why not make it today? Let's go get it, baby. Have a great one.